All right, I just finished up my running for the weekend. I ran 7 miles yesterday, and those were pretty good. I was feeling pretty good, feeling limber. Was able to pretty much run the entire time in zone two. Today I ran 5 miles uh, in the morning, and then 5 miles at night, and they sucked. I had to walk a lot to keep in zone two, but that's what you got to do. So last week, I mentioned the Archaic Revival, which is a book and an idea by Terrence McKenna, he was a psychonaut. He was really into psychedelics. He was probably a genius, like a technical genius, like whatever the IQ level that you have to have minimum to be a technical genius. I believe he had that for whatever that's worth. He was really smart. He's a really good speaker. He wrote some books, and I like to listen to him speak. Like, says a lot of stuff, kind of like Alan Watts, beating around the bush, saying a bunch of nothing, but it sounds good, and I think it is good. Some of it, a lot of it. I like Terrence McKenna, and I believe there's this one clip of him that I like to listen to. I'll put a link in the description below, but it's him talking about the Archaic Revival. It's a long quote, but it's really good, and I'm gonna recite it here because I think that this summarizes why I'm doing a 50-mile race and why anyone would do one. So, this is it. This is Terrence McKenna. The idea there is that we have gone sick by following a path of untrammeled rationalism, male dominance, attention to the visible surface of things, practicality, bottom lineism. We have gone very, very sick in the body politic. Like any body, when it feels itself to be sick, it begins to produce antibodies or strategies for overcoming the condition of dis-ease. And the 20th century is an enormous effort at self-healing. Phenomena as diverse as surrealism, body piercing, psychedelic drug use, sexual permissiveness, jazz, experimental dance, rave culture, tattooing. The list is endless. I'm running a 50-mile race. What do all these things have in common? They represent various styles of rejection of linear values. The society is trying to cure itself by an archaic revival, by a reversion to archaic values. So, when I see people manifesting sexual ambiguity, or scarifying themselves, or showing a lot of flesh, or dancing to syncopated music, or getting loaded, or violating ordinary canons of sexual behavior, I applaud. All of this, because it's an impulse to return to what is felt by the body, what is authentic, what is archaic. And when you tease apart these archaic impulses, at the very center of these impulses is the desire to return to a world of magical empowerment of feeling. And at the center of that impulse is the shaman, stoned, intoxicated on plants, speaking with the spirit helpers, dancing in the moonlight, and vivifying and evoking a world of conscious, living mystery. That's what the world is. The world is not an unsolved problem for scientists and sociologists. The world is a living mystery. Our birth, our death, our being in the moment. These are mysteries. They are doorways opening onto unimaginable vistas of self-exploration, empowerment, and hope for the human enterprise. And our culture has killed that, taken it away from us, made us consumers of shoddy products and shoddier ideals. We have to get away from that. And the way to get away from that is by a return to the authentic experience of the body. And that means sexually empowering ourselves, and it means getting loaded. Exploring the mind as a tool for personal and social transformation. The hour is late. The clock is ticking. We will be judged very harshly if we fumble the ball. We are the inheritors of millions and millions of years of successfully lived lives and successful adaptations to changing conditions in the natural world. And now the challenge passes to us, the living. So the yet to be born may have a place to put their feet and a sky to walk under. And that's what the psychedelic experience is about, is caring for, empowering and building a future that honors the past, honors the planet, and honors the power of the human imagination. There is nothing as powerful, as capable of transforming itself in the planet as the human imagination. Let's not sell it straight. Let's not whore ourselves out to nitwit ideologies. Let's not give our control over to the least among us. Rather, claim your place in the sun and go forward into the light. The tools are there. The path is known. You simply have to turn your back on a culture that has gone sterile and dead and get with the program of a living world and a re-empowerment of the imagination. So, I thought that to me, he gave that in a talk somewhere. He talked a lot. He was a good talker. And I heard that, and it's really difficult to really pin down anything specific, like any sort of actionable advice there. But for me, it was beautiful poetry. And I feel that it does a great job of summarizing why, as I said, anyone, myself, would run 50 miles. In the beginning of this quote, he talks about our society has gone sick by untrammeled rationalism, practicality, bottom lineism. And I think running 50 miles is it's not rational. I don't find it to be practical at all. But what it is, I think it is an archaic physical thing. I'm sure through the course of our evolution, humans have had to do all sorts of long distance running and difficult physical things just to survive. And there was a very intimate connection between long distance running and survival. And it wasn't like this thing that white people do to pass the time. It was just what they did. And I believe that our ancestors or whatever had to do that for thousands of years. And the reason why people are doing this now, the best way to put it is that it's an archaic revival. So yeah, run far, eat mushrooms, and Terrence McKenna.